Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Hot Wheels Starships Select number 3 Boba Fett Starship, or Slave 1, released in 2022. This Star Wars vehicle was first seen in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Now, ever since I started this channel, we have seen many Slave 1s or Fire Spray Interceptors from dozens of different companies such as Fantasy Flight Games, Hasbro, Galoob, and even Hot Wheels. So how does the Starships Select line measure up to those? Is it good or is it a dud? Well, we're gonna find out, so enough of me yapping, let's get right to the video. We'll begin with the measurements. For its height, we're looking at 4 inches or 10 centimeters tall, which is a pretty good die-cast vessel. So if you're new to my channel, what I like to do is go over the mold, get a nice close-up look to see what we're really buying, look at the paint, the stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. Alright, let's take a look at the mold. Like in all my videos, I will go over all the major sections of the item, and I will get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. Now, truth be told, this is a beautiful looking craft. All the detailing is there. You can see panel lines all over the place. It looks great. Oh, you know what? I'm jumping the gun. Let's go over the major parts here. We have our cockpit, as well as observation deck. Sensors jammer right here. Main sensors right underneath the observation bubble. And then all in this area, we have concussion missiles, ion cannons, tractor beam emitters. All these crazy things are hidden in here. I always refer to this ship as the Swiss Army knife of vessels. And it's true. We even have more laser cannons right about here, as we saw in episode 2. So, boom, this thing is packing. But moving down, right here we have our rotating twin blaster cannons, and yes, they do move. So let's take a quick look at that. Well, looking at those rotating twin blasters, they can go about that far down and that far up. So it really doesn't have that much range. But it's cool that they can move. Awesome. And that's not all. We have our stabilizer fins, which guess what? Also move. So let's take a quick look at that as well. Looking at the stabilizer fins, they can go down and up, and that goes for both sides. Which is kind of cool, looking at it from this angle. Pretty cool, right? Nice. Sick. I love that we have moving parts on here. On the bottom, we have our skirt section. Entry ramp right here. A rivet. Looking dope. On the bottom, we have 2 rivets holding it together, as well as engines, copyright crap, and the ball joint peg right there, or I should say socket. All in all, beautiful mold down here. It really has everything. Little paint mishap, but we'll get to that later. But all in all, a beautiful looking ship. So now let's get a closer look. Alright, having a closer look, let's begin with the back of the craft. We can see our rivet there, and just look at all the components leading to the engines. Fantastic stuff. Moving down, we have our socket for our stand there. We have our engines, which depends a little messy back here. We also have a little chip right there. What are you gonna do? But moving down, another rivet. And look at all the detail in here. Copyright crap. Fantastic. As you guessed, nothing's flat here. You can see it's just endless details. And I like it for that. They did a decent job with the detailing. And it's different types of paint too. You have some paints that are just like a matte. You have some that are glossy, and look at the engine glow. Very glossy on that. Almost like a normal Hot Wheels car. Very cool. But regardless, a great looking piece here, besides that little paint mishap right here. Don't know what happened, but damn. The back of our stabilizer fins. A little hollow there, but what are you gonna do? The rest of the craft is very detailed though. So let's stick with the stabilizer fins. We'll look at the tops here. Very nicely detailed. It's a little hard to see right here, but the actual rod is detailed as well, which is nice. Little pistons colored in there. Pretty nice, right? The underneath. Little plain here and there, but there are lots of little molded details, so not too bad. And the whole beam going up is nicely done as well. Pretty cool. And it's the same as this side. No real differences whatsoever. Everything's the same, even the paint. Little different differences with the gray wash, but besides that, they're identical. Looking at the skirt section, you can see all the different types of paint here, panel lines, going right up to the wing. Looking very nice, and it's not the same. There's little micro differences in the way the paneling is and the molding. It's really cool. Coming around the top here. Again, looking sharp. And then back to the skirt section. You can see minor little details here and there. But on the whole, very nice. There's our entry ramp walkway. More little details and panel lines. And our little arch section. Looking good. Now the interior here, it's a little hard to see, but it's molded quite well. You can see some dark gray paint in there. A little green on the bottom, but really cool. And that's the same for this side. Very nice as well. So moving on, let's get to the main body. We have our interior of this piece right here. And you can see a rivet and some nice detailing. A little black paint chip there. Weird. And then there's some black paint. Pretty interesting. Coming up the side here, beautiful panel lines. A little gap here of negative space where the plastic and the die-cast meet. We have our rotating blaster cannons, which are nicely detailed. I think those came out pretty nice. You can see the underside is also detailed, which is cool. Looking sharp. And then the other side, pretty nice. Coming up to the top. Very cool. Now for our window here, you can see how it is a little different than the main configuration of the body. You have like this little lip, and I like that. It looks kind of cool. A little messy around the sides, but for the most part, it's very glossy and very cool. And finally, let's take a look at the molding in the front. Nice panel lines, molded pretty well. And that's everything I had to say about the mold for the Slave 1. In short, it has a lot going for it. I specifically love the skirt, the engine section, and the panel lines going around the main body. It's very nice, and the paint from a distance looks great. So let's discuss that next. And now looking at that paint on the Hot Wheels Starships Select number 3 Slave 1, we have a grand total of around 11 colors here. Light green, green, dark green, gray, metallic gray, dark gray, light gray, maroon, tan, yellow, and finally glossy black. Now at first it looks amazing. Sure, it could use a black wash, but besides that, it looks fine. The only major issue I see is the back engine section with the yellow that's everywhere. If I would have saw this in the box, I probably would have put it back. The problem is, A, I got it from Amazon, and B, it's hard to see, even if I had it in front of me. and I had a bright LED on it, the way it's packaged, it would be very hard to see the aft section, which is a shame. But besides the engine section, it's not too bad. And just like every ship in the Starships Select line, we do have this awesome stand. Now this one is a little different. You can see how the peg is basically facing horizontal now. And there's our little port right there. So you just take the ball, put in the port, hear that little click. And just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And for a size comparison with the Hot Wheels Starships Select number 3 Slave 1 seen in the center, I have it next to some other Select Series vessels. First, on the right hand side, we have the Red 5 X-Wing Starfighter. And on the left hand side, we have the Imperial TIE Fighter. Now, I love this line, I think it's great, but I am running into a problem, besides the paint on the back of Slave 1. The ball joints. Now, I told you if I learned more or if I dealt with situations in my previous videos, I would let you know. Now, I'm going to take my finger. I'm not going to use a lot of force. Look at this. The ball joint is very loose now. And I wish I could say I was experimenting with this and doing different stuff, but I wasn't. Last week, as many of you know, I took a break and did all Buzz Lightyear ships. This sat on this desk in this pose like this for a little over a week since its last review. And it is loose. The same could be said for the X-Wing. And if I hold this, look at this. It doesn't even want to stay. What the fudge? Oh man, sorry about that. I get really aggravated with this type of stuff. But here's the thing. If you're a collector like myself, the stands are something I was really worried about. And you guys could go back, you could see my videos or my messages. I've been worried about the quality of the ball joints ever since this line was spoken about. And I hate to be a stick in the mud, I hate to sound like a broken record and sort of a butthole, but the thing is, they're garbage. They're garbage because I don't play with these, I'm not a child. They sat on my desk for a week, and they're all loose. Look at this, look at this. What am I going to do with that? Ah! Oh boy, whew. I had to go outside and take a breath. Now that I'm nice and calm, here we have another size comparison with the Hot Wheels Starships Select number 3 Slave 1 seen on the right. On the left, we have the Starships Select Razor Crest, which is a nice piece. It is probably the heaviest out of all of them, so I can't imagine what it's going to do to that ball joint. But nicely detailed, beautifully painted. And there are 2 versions of this. Sadly, I was only able to find one, but I am on the lookout. Regardless though, a beautiful looking ship. And for our final size comparison with the Hot Wheels Starships Select number 3 Slave 1 seen on the right, on the left, we have the normal Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships line, 3-inch Slave 1. And you could just see the difference here in size. Night and day. Now, there are pros and cons to each one of these. For example, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I prefer the old stands. I think these are great compared to these ball joints due to them being loose for no reason except time. But what are you gonna do? Maybe it's just mine. Let me know in the comments below. If you have these, are your stands getting loose even though you don't really touch them? Or which one do you like better? Do you like the big ones or do you prefer the smaller ships? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in seeing reviews of any of the ships I showed today, click on the links in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Starships Select number 3, Boba Fett's Starship or Slave 1, released in 2022. Now, many at this point might consider this line to be a mixed bag, if you will, and you guys might be right. However, when looking at this ship, what have we seen today? When we take a step back and look at the mold, it's beautiful. Everything is there that should be. I specifically love the engine section, the skirt, the front, the stabilizer fins. Everything's there that should be, and it looks fantastic. I also enjoy how they have the rotating twin blasters and the stabilizer fins on the main body. to have those be able to move is awesome and really opens up a lot of display options, which is a good thing. For paint, they have about 11 different colors here working together, and it really makes this ship pop. I think a black wash would have went the extra mile to fill in all those nooks and crannies and really make all the detail pop even more. But the gray wash they put on there, it sort of does the job here and there. Now, is the paint perfect? No. As we saw in the back, there is a big splosh of yellow that dripped from the engine section, and I guess I could get it off, but I would be afraid to. I think I'm just gonna leave it alone. The problem is, when you buy these, you can't really see the back of the ship. So buyer beware, I guess. I guess if you're gonna buy one of these, get a flashlight and see if you could see in the package a little bit. But it's definitely gonna be a very hard angle to spot. Definitely. Now for the stand, I love the glossy black, I love the silver Mandalorian symbol, and the Boba Fett Starship logo. I wish it said Slave 1, but these are the times we live in, I guess. The stand is awesome. The only issue I have is the ball joints themselves. Now, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Maybe it's just me. It's been hot in New Jersey. Maybe the heat and cold have something to do with it. But my balls are getting loose. Okay, that came out wrong. But the ball joints are getting loose on the ships. So it's, you know, they're just moving left to right. Now, I was able to get the Slave 1 in this position, and I think it looks great. But the TIE Fighter and X-Wing, they are very loose at this point, and it is definitely a shame. If you're a collector of this line, like myself, are you having a similar issue? Let me know in the comments below. So that's everything I have to say about Boba Fett's ship today. I really hope you enjoyed this video of Slave 1. If you did, smash that like button. If you'd like to see new videos every week, subscribe. Again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch my content. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody!